walks away.
This warm, beautiful weather, very conducive to getting out on a bicycle, maybe taking a nice walk, but be careful. With me now is Michael Schafer, attorney with the Schafer Law Office. Michael, welcome back to the show.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
And you already forgot. You're supposed to call me Mike.
Oh, I apologize.
I'm in trouble when somebody calls me Michael, so.
I apologize. Okay, thank you, Mike. And you mentioned, just for fun, you were saying, hey, River House Restaurant, you're going to take your employees out there, right?
We're headed there Friday. We have a couple birthdays we're going to celebrate, so we're going to go out and have some of John's fine cuisine and party up a little bit,
Yeah.
Get ready for Derby a little early.
There you go. Have a cocktail, enjoy the view. Okay, let's talk. Speaking of enjoying the view, you may be getting out on your bike or take a little bit of a walk. And this is all fine and dandy, but you were saying this changes things as far as accidents and likelihood of accidents. Talk a little bit about that, Mike.
Well, Derby's coming up. It's spring. Beautiful day like today, at least until, you know, 8 or 9 o'clock tonight when freezing hits again.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
But yeah, strange as it can be. But a lot of more people are out doing things, walking, hiking, biking, riding scooters that have never ridden scooters before, have never ridden a bike before. And they don't know the rules of the road like people that ride on a regular basis, like maybe I do. So as a driver of a car, you just need to be extra cautious this time because you're going to see a lot of people doing strange things and darting out when you would not normally expect it.
As an injury attorney, I'm curious, do you see, when the weather warms up, do you see a spike in cases that involve bicycles, pedestrians? Do you see that?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's unfortunate that both the cyclist and the pedestrian and the drivers they don't respect each other, and both sides of it do things that are wrong. You know, it's like there's a law in Louisville that I'm sure most people don't know, but if you're riding a bicycle, if you're over 11 years old, it's illegal to be on the sidewalk. I get cases that come in all the time where a bicycle is darted from the sidewalk into the street and they've gotten hit. But because of the contributory negligence, the fact that they may be at fault too, there's not a whole lot I can do for them. So there's little things like that that you just don't expect that are in the law. So
that makes sense to me though, because if you're out on the road, then the likelihood of cars seeing you and being able to prepare as you come up to them, that makes sense to me. So if sidewalks, you're not allowed to ride a bike on. That is wild.
Well, a bicycle moves much faster than a pedestrian that going through a crosswalk or anything. So it's, even if you're making a right turn, you're checking to make sure that nobody is crossing right on red I'm talking about. And a bicycle can come out of nowhere in the middle of that turn. So it's important to be a little extra cautious this time, and it's even the same way for the scooters that are around now that you can rent off the side of the road. Those are not supposed to be on the sidewalk either. They're considered a bicycle basically under a recent law that came into effect a couple years ago when they came around.
So Mike, I would think that as far as who has the right of way, I would think it would always be either the pedestrian, the bicycle, or the scooter. Is that always the case, or does sometimes the motorist actually have the right of way?
Well, the motorist has the right of way, but unfortunately, I mean, if it's a pedestrian on car accident, car's going to win as far as who's going to get hurt. So even though the car might have the right of way, you know, you just need to look out for the pedestrian, because if somebody's darting out from in between cars in the middle of the road, car definitely has the right of way, but you need to be aware that that might happen, especially during Derby when people are drinking more, in a hurry, trying to get to their parties, trying to get to the track. You just need to be aware those things may happen, because even if it's not your fault, the worst thing that can happen to you is if you hurt somebody else.
Oh yeah, well, you've seen those repercussions, Mike, as an injury attorney. So I know it may sound like common sense, but maybe a few of the rules that you would say, hey, make sure that you do this, because there's nothing wrong with a reminder, especially this time of year.
Right. Well, I mean, one thing is use the bike lanes that are available. Those are there for a reason. They can be kind of confusing, but use those and be conscious of those. Those are there to make sure the cars go around you. One thing that you know, I wasn't aware of, just found out, a bicycle has the right of way over a scooter. So, you know, if you're on a scooter, you're supposed to give way to the bicycle if they're in that lane. You're not supposed to be over them. You're supposed to stay as far right, have a reflector on your bike. And if it's after dusk, it has to be a blinking reflector, and you actually have to have some sort of headlight. So,
Wow.
you know, and I mean, there's things that you wouldn't be aware. If you come up on a bicycle, you're riding a bicycle, you're supposed to either have some sort of bell to ring or use your voice to say, hey, I'm coming by you.
Okay,
So,
that makes sense.
They make sense, but you know, common sense isn't always something we think about.
That's right. I was not aware. I want to ask your professional opinion about something here, because it seems to me when I was young here in Louisville, there wasn't really a need for taxis, etc. But this movement, and it's a positive one, about getting an Uber if you have a drink, just one, about being ultra safe. As an injury attorney, you probably see that. I would assume, Mike, that you'd rather that injuries didn't exist, but they do, and they need a professional like you if it happens. But are you seeing this new generation kind of getting it? They understand, hey, you can't drink and drive.
Absolutely. It's so much better than it was back when I was younger, and I'm not going to say how long ago that was, but with my kids, they use Uber all the time, and they're in their mid-20s and early 30s, and it's just something that we never even thought of. It's a different world. I mean, you hear that all the time, but it really is a different world from 40 years ago.
Yeah, I think, you know, the raising awareness actually works. And now they know, and you see, and plus you see here on Wave 3 News, the repercussions from drinking and driving. And there's been a recent story that I don't need to refer to, people are familiar with, but it's tragic on both sides. It is tragic. It ruins lives and ends lives, sadly. Okay. For folks who do, knock on wood, we hope you never get an injury. But if you're in a car accident, if you're a pedestrian, if you're on a scooter or bicycle, call you. What I like your style. You do explain things well. That's important to you as a communication, right?
Absolutely. We try to make sure that an individual understands what's going on, what we can do as far as compensating them, getting them what they deserve in reference to their injury. But information is key as far as we see. We want to make sure you understand it. That's why I've written the books that I've written. Every new client receives a book. We give those out as a public service to anybody in Kentucky that requests one. No charge.
Wow.
We'll mail it to you. Just have to get on our website, which is on the screen, and fill out the form, and we'll send it to you, no strings attached.
Mike, you're a great resource. Next time I have you on the show, I'm going to take notes, because some of the things you told me I did not know, and if nothing else, it's a great conversation piece, and we talked about raising awareness. You've done that, so thank you so much.
All right, and next time I'm on the show, I'm going to be next year I'll have one of those tickets in there for that golden ticket, because that's definitely something that I want, even though that box isn't there now.
There we go. All right, do that. Sports fan, obviously. Schafer Law Office, give them a call if you happen to be in an unfortunate accident. Okay, coming up here, spring is here. You need your energy levels to be upped. Spring is synonymous with energy. So is Lisa Innenbach, and she is next on Wave 3 Listens Live.
If you're a Medicare beneficiary and live in the area, call now to see how this little card could get you some big benefits, including money added back to your Social Security check. With one toll-free call, you can find out how easy it is to get all of your original Medicare coverage, plus extra benefits. You get an all-in-one plan designed to fit